So, when you think about a business class, what comes to mind? Probably profit margins, stock prices, that kind of thing, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the International Baccalaureate's business management program and see how it's designed to shape a whole new kind of business leader.
All right, let's just jump right in with a massive question, one that sits at the very heart of the IB philosophy. What if the ultimate goal of business wasn't just to make money, but to actively build a better, more peaceful world? I mean, that's a pretty huge idea, right? And it's the lens through which we're going to look at everything today. See, that's the thing. This course starts with a really powerful why. It's not just about the nuts and bolts of how a company works. It's about its real purpose and its impact on all of us. And it all starts with you, the student. Before you even touch a balance sheet or a marketing plan, the whole focus is on something called the IB Learner Profile. The idea here isn't to just cram your head full of business facts. It's about building you up as a person, developing these specific qualities that turn you into a more thoughtful, responsible, global citizen. And this quote, it just nails the core mission perfectly. This isn't just some fluffy mission statement they put on a poster. It is the absolute foundation of the program. Think about those keywords. Caring young people, a better and more peaceful world. That is the actual DNA of this whole thing. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, take principled, for example. When you learn to be principled, a decision about where to get your materials from isn't just about the cheapest price. No, you're looking at it through this ethical lens, thinking about things like labor practices. And when you're encouraged to be caring, you're forced to think about the real-life human impact of, say, putting a factory in a certain community. So you see, these aren't just nice personality traits. They actually become the tools you use to analyze business problems. Okay, so if the big why is to create a better world, then the next question is, how? How do you actually learn to do that? Well, the course gives you these 4 really powerful lenses or ways of thinking that you apply to every single business topic you study. Let's break them down. And what I love about this diagram is how it shows everything is connected. You can see that those 4 big ideas, they're not just separate chapters in a textbook, not at all. They're woven into the actual content, the tools and theories, and then you apply all of that to real-world contexts, like actual case studies. It's this constant cycle that gives you that deep, big-picture understanding. All right, first up, change. I mean, it's a simple truth, right? No business exists in a bubble. This lens forces you to constantly ask, okay, what's shifting in the world right now? And more importantly, how does a business not just react to survive, but actually get ahead of the curve and lead that change? Next, we've got creativity. And look, this isn't about being good at painting. This is about pure innovation. It's that ability to look at any problem, could be a tangled supply chain, could be a marketing campaign that's falling flat, and just see it from a totally new angle to find a smarter, better solution. Then there's the third lens, and honestly, this one is huge. It's ethics. The key takeaway here is that every single business decision, from where you buy your raw materials to how you price your product, is viewed as a moral decision. It has real consequences for real people, for communities, for the planet. It's just not optional. It's baked into every conversation. And that brings us to the fourth and final lens, sustainability. This is all about playing the long game. It's based on that famous idea, meeting the needs of the present without messing things up for future generations. This is where the triple bottom line comes in. The idea is that a truly successful business has to work for people, for the planet, and for profit. All 3 have to be in balance for it to be truly sustainable. All right, so you've got this amazing way of thinking, these 4 lenses, but how do you actually use them? How do you go from big ideas to making actual decisions? Well, this is where the course really bridges that gap from theory to action. It gives you a whole toolkit of practical methods for analysis and strategy. And we're not talking about just thinking about things in the abstract. You are going to get your hands dirty with some serious, real-world analytical tools. You'll learn how to run a SWOT analysis to figure out a company's strengths and weaknesses. You'll use something called a steeple analysis to get a handle on all the external factors, social, technological, you name it. You'll even use numbers-based tools like decision trees to map out different choices and their likely outcomes. These are the real tools of the trade for modern, ethical strategy. Okay, so we've covered the why and the how. Now for the what. What specific areas of business are you actually going to master? The whole curriculum is structured around 5 core pillars, which are basically the essential departments of any business. And this diagram just lays it all out so clearly.
right in the middle, you have that driving question. What do students need to understand to become agents of change? And orbiting around that central idea are the 5 main business functions we just talked about. And notice how they're all looked at through those 4 key concepts: change, creativity, ethics, and sustainability. It all comes together.
So you kick things off with Unit 1, Introduction to Business Management. But this isn't just Business 101, where you define what a corporation is. Right from the get-go, you're asking those tough ethical questions about a company's real purpose. And you're digging into that complex web of stakeholders, everyone from employees to suppliers to the local community, and understanding how every single decision affects them.
Next up, Unit 2 takes you into the world of human resource management. And again, this is so much more than just looking at org charts. You're really exploring what makes people tick: leadership, motivation, company culture, all with the goal of figuring out how to build a workplace that is not just productive, but is also genuinely caring and supportive.
Then we get to the numbers in Unit 3, Finance and Accounts. This is where you learn to speak the language of business, which, is all about the numbers. But it's not just about learning how to read a balance sheet and walking away. It's about using that financial information to make smart, sustainable decisions and to really understand the overall health of a business from the inside out. Unit 4 is all about marketing. Here, you're diving into how a business actually connects with its customers. You cover the whole spectrum, from market research all the way to the famous marketing mix. But all along the way, you're constantly asking, how can we do this creatively? And, just as importantly, how can we do this ethically? And last but not least, Unit 5 is Operations Management. This is really the how-to part of business. How does stuff actually get made and delivered to the customer? You'll look at everything from complex supply chains to different production methods and quality control, and that focus on sustainability and ethical sourcing is front and center the whole time. Okay, so you've learned the philosophy, you've got the concepts, you've got the tools, you've studied the content. Now, how do you show that you actually get it? How do you prove you can use this stuff in the real world? Well, first off, the program comes in 2 flavors: standard level, or SL, and higher level, HL. Standard level gives you a really solid foundation over about 150 hours of teaching. Higher level is for those who want to go even deeper. It's 240 hours, and you cover topics in much greater depth. And get this, the extra exam paper for HL students is all about social enterprises. How cool is that? It brings the whole course full circle right back to that core mission. And when it comes to testing, you're not just going to be spitting back definitions you memorized. No way. It is all about application. You'll get a real case study to analyze for one paper. For another, you'll be working with actual data. And for your big internal assessment, you get to do your own independent research project on a real problem that a real business is facing right now. It's about as hands-on as you can get. So, after all that, it really brings us right back to where we started. You see, the IB Business Management course isn't just about preparing you for a job. It's way bigger than that. It's asking you to completely rethink and redefine what a career in business can even mean. So the final question it leaves you with is this: are you ready to become a confident, creative, and compassionate change agent for the future of business?